Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shannon Hartono from Indonesia. I'm affiliated with the School of Business and Management of Institute of Technology Bandung, and I'm here today to present my bachelor thesis defense, titled, How Can Indonesia's Tourism Potential Be Realized Through Sustainable Tourism and Effective Marketing? As a background, Indonesia is one of the biggest archipelagos in the world, meaning it possesses one of the most numbers of islands in the world. But much of its tourism industry is overshadowed by Bali, one of its islands. This study will dive into the use of marketing and sustainable tourism to unlock Indonesia's tourism potential. The research delves into and emphasizes digital marketing and social media utilization to reach a global audience. It also underscores the importance of implementing sustainable tourism in developing the tourism industry. By expanding tourism promotion beyond Bali, implementing effective marketing, and embracing sustainable practices, Indonesia seeks to diversify its tourism appeal, reduce over-tourism in Bali, and also drive economic growth in the tourism sector. The paper will consist of an introduction, problem statement, research questions, research objectives, literature review, research design, findings and discussions, conclusion, and lastly, limitations and recommendations. Indonesia has abundant potential in tourism that has yet to be exploited by the countries. Although Indonesia has made several attempts to promote the country's tourism, it has yet to be unlocked to its full potential. There is no shortage of tourist destinations that have not been developed for tourists. The role of marketing in promoting tourism has often been discussed and proven effective in many cases, and also in many different countries. Sustainable tourism is also on the rise in many countries, along with the rise of sustainable development goals to promote the safe development of tourism while preserving culture and local life, and also boost economic contribution of tourism. The problem statement has been identified as two problems. The first is that tourism is concentrated in Bali, which overshadows the rest of the islands and keeps economic growth centered in one location. There is a lack of diversification in the Indonesian tourism industry, as well as a lack of awareness of the tourism sector outside of Bali. The second problem is that the Indonesian tourism industry is not realizing its true potential and has not been developed properly. Although Indonesian tourism could be a major economic contributor and also one of the top tourism destinations in the world, it is not performing as well as it could, and its true potential has yet to be unlocked. The research questions are on the topic of sustainable tourism and marketing. First being, what is sustainable tourism, and what is its role in the growth of tourism in Indonesia? The second is, what is the role of marketing in the tourism industry in Indonesia, and what are the best marketing strategies to be used? The research objectives is to identify the reasons behind the concentration of tourism in Bali and its negative impacts on the tourism industry in Indonesia. Second is to analyze effective marketing strategies from promoting tourism in other islands in Indonesia, with a focus on creating awareness and interest among potential tourists. The third is to provide insights and recommendations to government and industry stakeholders on developing a sustainable and diverse tourism industry in Indonesia, reducing the negative impact of over-tourism in Bali, and promoting inclusive economic growth. The literature review consists of Indonesian history, sustainable tourism, tourism marketing, and the relationship between sustainable tourism and tourism marketing. The Indonesian history consists of a short overview of the history of Indonesia and its tourism industry, along with a review of types of tourism destinations in Indonesia, such as shopping tourism and nature tourism. There's also statistics of tourism visits over recent years, as well as the role of tourism in the economy. Sustainable tourism consists of sustainable tourism as a concept, its definition, and its principles, and what it entails is covered in this section. It also discusses the criteria that make a successful implementation of sustainable tourism, as well as real examples in Indonesia. Tourism marketing covers the definition and practices as well as techniques of tourism marketing. It is related to consumer behavior for tourism destinations, and it is completed with a discussion of challenges and opportunities in Indonesian tourism marketing. The last section discusses the relationship between the two concepts and how they interact with each other. It covers the way sustainable tourism plays a role in tourism marketing, as well as its advantages and cases of successful integration of both. Sustainable tourism, as shown by data in the literature review, is defined as a harmony between economic, social, and environmental well-being. Sustainable tourism, when implemented properly, focuses on all these things. The core principles include cultural preservation, environmental preservation, economic development, and local society. Tourism marketing is defined as all efforts made to promote tourism-related products or services in a certain country. Marketing strategies that have been used in tourism are digital marketing, destination marketing, and traditional marketing or offline marketing. These two concepts will be important in the paper and have been discussed in the literature review. For the research design and methodology, the data is collected purely through secondary data, through scholarly articles without any primary data collection. The data is qualitative to ensure a more thorough analysis and a more comprehensive approach to the subject and its data analysis. The data is analyzed through thematic analysis to identify patterns and themes. The conceptual frameworks used were on sustainable tourism, tourism marketing, and economic development to connect all themes in the analysis. The data was collected through secondary data to avoid bias and to ensure a thorough comprehension of the data. For the data collection, it recaps all the data collected and what was found about the tourism situation in Indonesia, tourism marketing strategies, and also sustainable tourism. It discusses what was found through the literature review and what has already been implemented in Indonesia, as well as the current situation. The findings also cover the data on Bali situation, as well as the government's efforts to fix it. It also covers findings from other countries and other areas that have been successful or less successful. The thematic analysis discusses the findings and themes viewed through the lenses of sustainable tourism, tourism marketing, and economic development. Marketing strategies were reviewed on effectiveness and implementation. Sustainable tourism had 4 main themes, which underline the success and key drivers of successful implementation. Economic development was discussed because of how important it was that all tourism activities boost economic growth. For the conclusion, this dissertation discusses the role of marketing and tourism in Indonesia, implementing sustainable tourism and propelling economic growth. It emphasizes the contribution of sustainable tourism development, the utilization of diverse marketing strategies, including digital marketing, social media marketing, and destination marketing, to effectively promote tourism in the country. Identifying 4 critical criteria for sustainable tourism: sustainable management, social and economic benefits, cultural heritage preservation, and environmental conservation. The research highlights their dual impact on economic growth, as well as the foundation of sustainable tourism. Overall, the research highlights the roles of sustainable tourism and tourism marketing in the developing of economy through the tourism industry in Indonesia. Lastly, for their limitations and recommendations. This paper was written completely with secondary data and qualitative data. This was done to do a more conclusive analysis, but can serve as limitation in further research. The scope of the research was also limited to the roles of sustainable tourism and tourism marketing on economic development, which limits the scope of research. The impacts of COVID-19 was also largely ignored in this research, which might limit also the data that was collected. Some recommendations would be to widen the scope of research to other areas and other countries to compare the implementations and successes. Primary research could also ensure more reliable and thorough data. For future research, it could be beneficial to go further into COVID-19 and its impacts on tourism in Indonesia. There could also be more research into the use and impacts of advanced technology such as AI. That is all for our presentation today. Thank you very much.